Welcome to the True Colours podcast, where we share our views on life, relationships, and culture, exploring big questions and providing simple answers to them, with your hosts, Jay Clare and Sally Olver. Welcome to episode number 10, Sally.
10! 1-0!
True Colours represent.
Woo! Made it to the 1-0.
Yeah, now our next milestone is 3 figures.
Oh, God. You know what? We have that much to talk about. We'll probably make it.
That's basically 2 years, around 2 years away.
Yeah.
No, what is it? 52 weeks? Yeah, 2 weeks, 2 years away.
It's good to have goals.
Yeah, my child will be around a year and a half by then. Your kids will be working jobs.
My kids will be like, have families of their own.
Yeah, 2 years. We've got a very... Oh, I'm doing good.
Yep.
I was going to talk about something negative, but I'm not going to do that because...
Oh, we're positive people.
Yeah, that's what we are. I'm trying to be as positive as I possibly can.
You don't have to try hard, dude. You're a positive person.
Yeah. I heard this thing about someone said, you're a very energetic person. And I'm like, I think that's a compliment.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah.
Very energetic?
Yeah.
I don't know if I called you very energetic. Energetic? Nah. Very?
Was it that adverb that just wasn't required right there?
Not required. Shorten down your sentence, dude. Energetic? Yeah. What were they saying, that you're an animated personality type? Yep.
My boss continuously has to tell me to turn the volume down.
Well, did you tell him we're Mauritian? This is how we talk.
Yeah. So this is how we win arguments, talk louder than the other person.
And don't listen to what the other person's saying.
That's exactly right. What did you say?
That, viewers, is how we resolve conflict in our culture. All right?
It's because
Just
we've got
louder.
It's our cultures within us that are just fighting with themselves.
Yeah. There's a war. There's a cultural war in our minds.
It's like, I'm like, oh yeah, all that hand gestures, that's all the Italian in me.
Because you're multi.
Yeah. Today's topic is a very dear topic to my heart.
Speaking of culture.
Yes, and Annie, when I was telling her about this, was like, you need to stop listening to these crazy people who say these weird things. And I'm like, but they annoy me.
Yeah, no, but that's what they say. Like, you need to explore and you need to study and explore and discuss things that annoy you, because that's passion.
Yeah. So
and
that
can actually lead you to better learning and understanding of a given topic.
100%. So I can tell you, I've tried to understand the side of this argument. It's not an argument. It's a. What would you call that? A cultural? Well, it has the word cultural in there, but it's like a.
Is it a norm? Is it a norm? Is it a?
It's an
attitude.
Construct.
I think a construct. Okay.
I think it's a construct. I think it's not a real thing. I'm trying to like say my opinion on it.
Made up.
So the topic that we're going to discuss is cultural appropriation,
right,
versus cultural appreciation.
Love it.
Because I do not know what you think about this. I sent Sally a kind of, I would say it's an extreme version of a position in regards to cultural appropriation, an article on this.
It was an interesting view.
It was
why don't we give the writer a shout out, because I thought it was a very interesting view.
Yeah, so we checked out, I think all I did was search cultural appropriation. Is it a thing or is it bad?
Is it a thing? I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, is it a thing? And this is one of the ones that caught my eye, and I clicked on it and I was like, everyday feminism, I really need to go and check out this article. So this is on everydayfeminism.com. by a lady by the name of Maisha Z. Johnson. So
Shout out, Maisha. I really enjoyed her article. I thought it was great.
you like
She
the
had some.
perspective?
I really did. I really did. She was. Yeah.
Maisha Z. Johnson is the digital content associate and staff writer of Everyday Feminism. You can find her writing at the intersections and shamelessly indulging in her obsession with pop culture around the web.
Great.
That is Maisha. So
Yeah.
Maisha wrote an article, and obviously you can kind of already tell my position on cultural appropriation if you can't tell by my strong language. That I find it to be, I don't know,
Silly.
I think it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's minimizing actual real racism, I think. Like when real full frontal racism happens.
Yes.
I think cultural appropriation is in this construct is a form of racism. You're appropriating someone's culture, and that's not cool. So that you shouldn't be doing that. You're not allowed to do that because you're a white person.
Yeah.
And you come from a culture which had dominance over another culture. And in today's world, if you show a level of appreciation for something, so for example, I think there was the example I saw of it was probably last year or maybe the year before, was at a prom and in America, and the girl was a massive fan. So this is where I'm going to sound like an idiot, because I know not all Asian countries are the same, but it was either Japanese or Chinese. I can't remember the specific garb.
But, it was Asian,
It was Asian of some kind.
Okay.
So it was one of those traditional, silky looking, like a red silky.
Is it like what? Is it like what Brie wore to my wedding?
I can't remember.
It's Chinese.
Yeah, Chinese. Anyway, she wore that to her prom because she loved the culture. It was a beautiful dress. It was a beautiful outfit. So she wore it to her prom.
Sure.
And then people had this ridiculous outrage over the fact that she wore this. She's like, oh, this is appropriating someone else's culture. And I'm like,
oh, what?
What are you talking about? That is someone showing an appreciation. They're not showing any disrespect to the culture. They're doing it out of love.
Not.
They're doing it out of love, and now it's been turned into something that's being spoken about as if it was some sort of malice attached to it, which is so far from the truth.
And it could actually be the complete reverse. It could be her having such a love for it that she's celebrating it by wearing it and repping it, going, you know what, this is beautiful. I'm actually going to, and it probably, you know what, I can bet you $10 she didn't even give it that much thought. She was just like, I like the dress, I'm wearing the dress. Finished.
Because this is where's the line? So, for example, me, who is 25% Anglo-Saxon and 15% African, is it because I'm more white that I wouldn't be able to wear something that's Nigerian? Would I be appropriate to Nigerian culture? Because within myself, I have a more dominant white heritage. Well, not dominant. It's not the majority. It's still a large minority of my heritage is white. So
I think original. This is my understanding, and do tell me if I've warped it. But my understanding is perhaps the cultural appropriation, like when it was birthed, when society gave birth to this construct, that the offence came from those who were appropriating cultures that were oppressed. I think that's where it's originated from. I think the origin is hang on a minute, white person, you're like this article said, I thought I loved the point that she made. Like, she's not allowed to wear cornrows to work, but yet if Kylie Jenner is on the front cover of a magazine and she has cornrows, that's acceptable. So I get what she's saying there. It's like, okay,
Is in double standard.
Right. So I am an African American person, and those cornrows, like all those sort of like braids and cornrows and all of those hairstyles that you see African American women wear, that is a way. It's actually, it looks super cool, but it's actually, originally it was a protective style. It's a way to protect their hair because they've got a very unique textured hair, right? Now it's just cool, and now everyone's wearing cornrows. Now everyone's wearing braids and whatever, and that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah, mate,
but what she's saying
every Aussie that goes to Bali comes back with braids.
With braids, right? And cool, that's okay. But what she's saying is, why is it that a white girl can be on the front cover of a magazine with the same hairstyle, and it's celebrated and revered because she's a celebrity, she's white, it's acceptable, blah, blah, blah. But in her place of work, in her profession, she's not even allowed to wear her own protective style because it's...
I can explain that.
Okay, go for it.
So there are two different prepositions, right? So the one that she's talking about, work, is... that's a work environment where they have standards for everything. So me as a man, I might like wearing shorts, but I can't wear a shorts to work that are like suit cut because it's not part of the attire. Yet a woman can go to work and wear a dress and show her legs, and that's fine. Yeah. Whereas the thing on the cover of the magazine is not a private company. It's someone who's celebrating popular culture, and and that individual, Kylie Jenner, or was it Jenner? Was on the front cover. That's her appreciating Black culture, and someone's taking photos of that.
I agree, but I think, circling back to appropriation versus appreciation, I think yes, I agree with you. That particular celebrity is celebrating, going, that looks heaps cool and whatever, but she is promoting a culture that has been oppressed. I think that's where the offense is, right? It's like, okay, you're copying our culture when we have been through a lot, right? So just part of that.
They didn't go through it. They didn't go through it though. And the white person didn't have anything to do with it. So they didn't do the oppression. It's a method. It's what that mindset does is constantly looking at what's happened in the past and taking points, kind of history points, So rather than
it's not our culture.
Yeah, but rather than appreciating where we are now and understanding that it was horrible, what the bad things that your ancestors went through, you are now in a position to enjoy these freedoms of what you actually have now. The person who's appreciating it had nothing to do with any of that oppression.
No,
but is doing it even if that person was like, would it be even better if that person was ignorant to not knowing what had happened in the past? Because that would mean that it's purely on a level of them appreciating it, right? They're not going, oh, yeah, my white ancestors oppressed you. Now I'm take your headdress and appreciate it, not take the piss out of it or make fun of it.
No, I agree. So
it's like a conflicting.
It is. I think perhaps it is possible that the offence lies in the fact that, well, just this particular discussion, we'll take the example of a white girl and an African American girl. Let's just say that, right? So I feel like maybe the psyche is such that this white girl just gets to borrow from our culture and just adorn herself in our culture when she's got nothing to do with that. I don't think she's thought that through. She hasn't gone, oh, you know what, like, you know, my ancestors, and she's like, she likes the outfit, she's wearing the outfit, end of story, right? But I think from the other people's point of view, it's like, well, hang on a minute. Why are you dressing like us? Why are you dressing like us? Why are you talking like us? Why are you doing that? You have no link to our culture. So what are you doing? I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I'm just trying to understand both sides.
But this is a thing of, and I think what we need to come to, like, I think one of the greatest speeches of all time, and one of the most people who changed the world for betterment and lost his life because of it, was Martin Luther King. And I think he said something down the lines, part of that great speech that everyone knows. It was something down the lines of, one day I hope that people judge, I think he was talking about his daughters maybe, and judge by the content of my character and not by the color of my skin, of their skin. So I think rather than us melding into one people's, and that happens by people appreciating other cultures and becoming part of it and just becoming as one, people are still trying to separate those and not allow them to become a joint culture. I think that's what it is. I think it's the melding, it's evolution really, that I look at my family heritage and I'm like, man, we are evolution, right?
We are.
We're brown people, we're black people, we're white people, we're Asians.
You and I are the poster children for coming together.
Yeah. So, and that's where it's an amazing position to be in. I think it's like, you know, I even hear stories that I probably have family that were both slaves and slave traders. And it's like, what a weird position to be put in. It's like, but I have nothing to do with that. I'm not going to feel anything towards it. I just recognize that that's something that's happened in my past. I had oppressed and oppressors. I'm just like this person in the middle, but that's my history. It doesn't form the way that I look at the world now. Some people might say that's an ignorant position to be in, but I'm someone who wants to move forward. Say that wants to move forward. I'm about the optimism of the future. I think too many people are stuck in this negative mindset and frame of mind to continuously point out and poke at things that don't need to be. Like, let's vilify the really bad things that happen in the world, and where someone's being overtly racist, even just mildly racist, or any we should call that out. But I think
but wearing a kimono to a prom is not racist. That is not racist. So what you're saying is, I guess, so just again circling back to what I'm saying, I think the origin of this whole appropriation movement is other cultures replicating the cultures of the oppressed. And there might be something in that, but I think what you're saying now is that has become something ridiculous. And if a white girl can't wear a kimono to a prom, I mean, they're too far. Too far. Come on. That I agree with. But
here's an example where my line would be. Sorry, we're just doing the talk over each other to get our points across here.
Well, this is how we resolve.
My line would be something like, in Australia, where is this appropriation, where say a white person then decided to go, I'm going to start selling and getting and making money off copying Aboriginal paintings, like inspiration.
Right.
So I'd be like,
So,
going,
okay, so what's your standpoint there?
well, it's an
What do you
interesting
think
one.
about that?
I think that's.
See, I think no. If you want my, and you know, I'll have to think about why I've come to that such strong immediate answer, but my honest answer is no.
Would you not think that would be worse than the hair braids?
No, I'm
Because
saying I'm not for it. I don't want to buy Aboriginal art from someone who's not Indigenous.
Yeah.
My strong answer to that is no.
Yeah,
And
that's an example of the line.
right, and there we go back to my point is you and I share this view is that we are disgusted and disgraced by what our Indigenous happened to the Indigenous culture here in Australia.
100%.
So I think there deserves to be a sacredness where that belongs to them. I don't believe that we get to replicate it. But I want to circle back now to what you were just saying, because you're just saying, no, like we should all sort of blend and whatever. I'm all for blending. I married someone white. Like, I'm a blender. So are you, right? So it's not about that. But I think there are some cultures that are sacred and need to be treated as such.
Yeah, here's an example of something like that, and I think it's almost criminal. And if it's legit, I actually heard this. Funny enough, someone who I find interesting to get a different perspective, and I think this is where people lack the ability to do that. I'll say his name, and most people go, "What? You watch that guy?" And that guy is Andrew Bolt. And some of the stuff he says is absolutely ridiculous. And some of what he says is quite valid.
Merit. Has merit.
So
I think, but I honestly I think that's how you come to a well-formed opinion, is by listening to those that don't agree with you.
But he actually brought to light something I saw last night. And this is an example of probably the line. There's this guy called Bruce Pascoe. Now, Bruce Pascoe is an Aboriginal historian and wrote a story about how Aboriginals back in the day, that they were actual farmers and they would actually do farming. But it's actually, and he said that this guy, Bruce Pascoe, claims to be Aboriginal. He said that his great-grandmother on his mum's side or something is Aboriginal. Anyway, they've done this whole background check on the guy. There's no sign of any Aboriginal in his bloodlines whatsoever.
So how did he come to the conclusion that he was?
He's just made it up, obviously. He can't explain it.
No, that's not okay.
He was getting an ABC documentary about like this book that he wrote, which is basically fiction. None of it's actually real, apparently. And they haven't even fact checked this guy. And he's made up the stories that the people that he's referenced. He's basically writing about what they did out of context and turning it into something else that it actually wasn't. And I was like, mind blown. Like, here's some dude who's just pretending to be something that he's not.
Why would you do that?
I don't know.
Why on earth would you do that?
It was the weirdest thing I've seen.
Who wakes up in the morning and goes, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to I'm just going to fabricate my life and my ancestry, write a book, and get a documentary deal with the ABC while I'm there. I'm actually dumbfounded.
This is the absurdity, I think, of the ABC though of late. Like, they're just on this bizarre, I
haven't watched it. I still love the ABC. I don't watch
so
TV,
did I.
so I don't watch television, so I can't comment.
Yeah,
But
I only just found out about some fires in New South Wales.
yeah, right, me too.
I was like,
You
oh,
know
that's pretty
what? Look,
bad.
once they wrapped up Margaret and David, dude, I was like, I'm out. I'm done.
Right. They're my boy and my girl, Margaret and
Oh,
Dave. So I guess when we come back to the whole idea of cultural appropriation,
mhm.
I think it's a lot. I know people are wanting to make sure things aren't offensive to people, but I think at the end of the day, what the line I use now is it's okay to be offended, and just deal with the fact that you're offended. Like, and that's it.
Well,
Like, if
hey,
that person
I
was
tell you what,
intentionally,
in this world, at some point, you're going to be offended. That is like
and a
guaranteed.
great and a great example of it, I think, 100%. And it's not cultural appropriation, but it is revolving around Aboriginal culture, and it'd be interesting to understand what your take is on this. But Australia Day, it's like one of those things that's brought up again and again. And what people don't realise is that there are Aboriginal people who are offended by it. You know, the time that when they go back to it, but there are also Aboriginal people who are like, yeah, Australia
Yeah,
Day, no problems whatsoever. So
yeah,
there's this really loud voice of people who want to change it, and there's still a lot of people who are like, you know what, we understand. This is the way I look at it, right? I
mhm,
have no problem if it changed.
mhm,
I've got no problem with it actually staying,
yep,
because I don't have a strong feeling about the day either way.
yeah,
I can understand how some people might get offended by it, but at the same token, we should be able to also then flip that and say that let's use this as a day to recognize what happened,
you
um,
must.
move forward to where we
We
are now,
must.
and celebrate what we've become,
Yep.
and make it a day. So that maybe the morning is a morning period,
Mm,
and then the afternoon is a celebration.
I like
Do
it.
it like, do
I
it like
like it.
that.
I like it. And I feel that both flags should be represented on Australia Day.
Yeah, and why not? If there's any day,
I really feel that both, I mean, we see the British one, the British
Mm.
flavoured one, and that's what we know, the red, white and blue and whatever. But I feel that if it's going to be called Australia Day, both flags need to be represented. And really, that can be done.
The interesting part about that is the Aboriginal flag. I actually found out is a production of the capitalist system. I'm a pro-capitalist person, right? But I think in the 70s or something, they had like some kind of competition
Right.
about creating a flag, and I don't know the name of the guy. I probably should figure it out now. Who made the Aboriginal flag? Anyway, so after a while, this guy realized that people started using it and copying it. This guy's name was called Harold Thomas. In 1971, he designed the flag, a symbol of unity and national identity for Aboriginal people during the land rights movement in 1970. Anyway, that flag ended up becoming copyrighted, and if you want to use that flag now, it is now a commercial property, and you need to pay royalties if you actually use that flag.
What about in kindy if they're doing painting?
That's art then. So I'm
Oh,
saying
okay.
if you're using it, say you're printing T-shirts and you've got the Aboriginal flag on there and you're selling it.
Ah, so that's why it's not
Mm.
represented.
It was actually a government competition apparently as well. So yeah, it's kind of funny. I find this stuff when you actually find out information.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, that
We
makes so much sense.
love information, don't we, bro?
Yeah.
We love it.
So back to cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
Look, if you want to get angry about it, get angry about it, but realize that most people are going to be like, except for maybe people within their own culture. I don't know. But I've seen plenty of videos, right, especially around, I think it's Asian people who don't really care typically because they're just so easygoing.
Can we just
And there
say
was
how much we love our Asian counterparts?
Yeah. Well,
Why are they so nice?
I'm 10% Asian, so
Oh, well, there you go.
you don't know.
I
So,
maybe it's because I'm Asian myself.
but it was this guy. He was just doing it for a, what do you call it? Not to take the piss, but like an experiment, right? And he wore, I think it was like a Chinese outfit with the hat and stuff like that. And he said he was wearing this for his Halloween event that was coming up.
Right.
It wasn't overtly, it was just dressed that way. And
Right.
he walked to like some college in USA, and all the people were like, "Oh, that's racist. Why would you wear something like that?" You know, all these young people getting outraged at a guy who was wearing, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm just wearing this as a appreciation for whatever." Anyway, so all these people were getting offended who weren't Asian.
Right.
And then he goes to Chinatown, and they loved him. They were like, "We like what you're wearing." It just was like this great example of people just don't get offended for other people. I think that's a rule that I
get offended for other people. I get offended for other people. Like, say, for example, like we're saying about the Indigenous culture before. Like, if you're going to, make money off Aboriginal art and you're not Aboriginal, I'm sorry, I'm offended by that. Or if someone is like making fun of a burqa or something like that, I'm offended by that. I'm not Aboriginal. I'm not. But I guess I do find that offensive. I think it's the word I'm looking for is the disproportionate.
You're talking in that language.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, like I find it offensive, but I wouldn't go up in someone's grill or write a blog about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be, oh my gosh, I'd be like, dude, that's not cool. Like, that's not cool. Right? But I wouldn't be like outraged. But in saying that, maybe that's what those people that are being outraged, some of them just do it to be annoying, there's no doubt about that. But some people that are outraged, like, that could be a good thing, man, because that sort of stimulates change.
I've got a proposition for you. How outraged would you be if you went down to your local Coles and you're walking down the aisle and you get to the organic aisle and you look at the shelf and it stares back at you? Organic fermented vegetable pickles.
Do you know how offended I would be, mate? Would you like to tell our listeners why we would be so offended by that claim?
I wouldn't be offended.
That claim?
I technically wouldn't be offended. I'd laugh.
No, actually, I wouldn't be. You and I would just be killing ourselves. We wouldn't be. Yeah, we would be laughing. We think that's hysterical.
I remember when my cousin sent me that photo and then I forwarded it to you.
Yeah.
It's like, what is it all coming to?
Gut friendly.
It's got good microbiomes. I've been eating this shit since I was 3 years old.
Dude, our ancestors made this because they couldn't afford anything else, right?
Yeah, they just chucked all the veggies in a pot and just sit there for a while.
And now they charge you like $95 for 20 grams.
Yeah, it's all that turmeric, all that highlighter lips.
Oh, mate. You know you've been to a Mauritian's house, you look at the benches and they're all yellow? Am I wrong?
I got this white marble. That's such a bad choice.
Have you got those yellow stains?
Sometimes you're gonna get into it. Get off.
I'll tell you what, nothing gets that out. Once you're saffroned up, forget it.
Is it
saffron?
All that yellow highlight.
All the superfood.
I gotta admit, my mum makes this one which is like, oh my god, it is the best. Like I could just eat a whole. No, it's this different thing. Do you like? I don't know what fish she uses, but she pickles. So she deep fries a fish.
Yes.
She breaks it into pieces and then puts
Stop
like
it.
onions. I
talking.
don't know what it's called.
Oh,
And then puts that yellow stuff on there, and then oh man, just
that's
fucking-
crazy. You know
so
what? I'm
good.
going to consult. I'm going to consult my Mauritian cookery book, and I reckon it's in there. Actually, that recipe's in there. That is, man,
got a
that's
name.
next level.
It's got a name. What is it called?
Poisson hachard.
No, it's got like its own individual name, but that's
Yeah,
basically
you
what
know
it
what
is.
our parents and that call it? Pickle.
Pickle. You want some pickle with it? You want some chili? Want some chili? I love the my favorite people who ask for surely are the Vietnamese. Do you have Vietnamese rolls in Perth? Do you have any of those, like the French baguettes?
So
No?
good.
Oh, you do? Yes. Wait.
Yeah,
Oh,
and they
they're always like-
stacked it. Man, they put so much. It's the way baguettes should be eaten.
man,
good.
You got Subway like down here, and then those things are like and half the price.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy. But I always
Yeah.
like they're like, and you're like, oh, I'll get like a roast chicken banh mi, please. And they look back and you're like, with chili?
Always.
And you're like, always the chili.
Always with chili. Always. The answer is always yes.
Yeah. So is there a line? Is cultural appropriation, can like a full Anglo-Saxon person just go, I'm going to open up a Vietnamese store?
Yes, they can. But why?
See, where's the... So is it because Aboriginal people were oppressed and Vietnamese people were oppressed by white people?
Okay, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to think. I'm trying to connect with
See, this
why
is-
I am not as offended by an Anglo-Saxon, a Caucasian person opening a Vietnamese store, but I can't handle a Caucasian making Aboriginal art. Why is that? Why?
It's very interesting, right?
I'm just being on it. I'm just trying to explore, okay, what is my reason for that? I wonder if perhaps the indigenous culture is a little bit more close to home, maybe.
Yeah, maybe it's a like a bias, like a knowledge bias, emotive bias. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Same goes for the African American culture, because I've studied, well, when I say studied, I'm no scholar or professor, but I'm very much interested in African American culture and history. I think it's just fascinating and rich with good stuff. So maybe that's why I get offended by white people with corn rolls. I'm like, you can't do that. So maybe maybe it's an emotive thing, like you're saying. Maybe it's I'm invested. Maybe I'm invested in those particular cultures, so it offends me more.
Can I ask you, is it definitely corn rolls or is it corn rows?
Corn rows. Corn rows. Corn rolls. We're talking about baguettes. I call them corn rows. Sorry, right.
That's okay. You've been saying it all episodes. Corn rolls.
Corn
I
rolls.
love me corn.
Well,
I had to explain something. Did I ever tell you my my story about the Chico roll? Do you know that story?
No.
So you know the Chico roll. You know the Chico roll.
They're disgusting.
It's the grossest shit ever. It's like an Aussie spring roll.
It's
just mush.
Man, it's just
inside.
not okay.
It's like PVA glue with
cabbage.
Yeah.
Paper mache cabbage.
So, but the package that they sell, the multi-pack in the supermarket in the freezer, you can buy them. You can buy a 4-pack of. Wait for it. The front cover has a hand on it.
Yeah.
That's my hand. Have I ever told you the story?
Is it really?
On the Chico roll hand.
Can you please take a photo next time?
I've already done it before. Like I've certainly seen a sign on one of the milk bars or fish and chip shops, and I'm like holding it next to it. I'm like, that's my hand, man. Look at that shit. So my hand is famous. It's everywhere. It's all around Australia.
Chico rolls are disgusting.
Yeah, this is true.
You needed to rep something else.
I am going to have to wrap it up very soon. It is 10:20
So,
here in
what's our summation? Look,
my summation is, I think I've made it clear my stance on there. I believe my line is at malice. I think if someone's trying to be
yes.
mean,
or
insensitive, yeah, profiting of something
that's a good answer. I like it.
Yeah, I think if there's no nice, appreciate stuff, then just high five them and go, yes, sweet.
Yeah, man, have a good day.
No, just put some corn rolls in your hair.
Get some corn rolls.
What about you?
Oh, look, I'd prefer a corn roll over a chicken roll any day. Let's just say that. You know what? I think you've just really encapsulated that really well. Yes. When there's no malice and there's no ill-spirited, like mean-spirited intent, like, because like we're saying earlier, like some people just don't think it through that much. It's really not that well thought out. It's just like, I like the dress, I'm wearing the dress, that's it. Like they don't even, it doesn't even occur to them that they could be offensive or whatever. So I agree with you, man. I think in that spirit, it's cool. But I also think, I do believe that there are certain cultures, certain groups that need to be revered and, respected. Pretty sacred.
Like what? What do you mean? That was a very vague statement. Like,
well, I'm saying, I'm take the indigenous culture for example. I don't think it's okay. I'm putting it out there. I don't think it's okay for a Caucasian to profit on Aboriginal art.
How Aboriginal do you need to be?
So what are you saying? If you take a DNA test and you're 5%, then you can do the art.
I'm asking you, like I saw this chick on Q&A the other day, and she was like talking about the colonialists invading Australia and stuff, and I'm like, dude, I hate to be insensitive here, but you're like, she was clearly like an us, like a mixed blood.
Right.
I'm like, is she hating on just one part of her? Like, I don't get that mindset. It's
the split.
She's owning one culture but denying the other one totally.
Really?
Yeah, but talking like the colonists need to just, let us do our thing. We're Aboriginal, and I'm like, you're kind of a bit of everything, aren't you?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, okay. In response to your question, I think you would need to have some connection to the culture. When you say how Aboriginal are you allowed to do Aboriginal art, I think you would need some connection.
I know it's a ridiculous hypothesis to kind of like, how Aboriginal do you have to be to do Aboriginal art? And
I think you need to
50% minimum.
Not minimum. Not minimum, but you need to have some kind of connection to the culture. Come on. What do you think? 50? It's pretty high.
You need to be basically Aboriginal.
What if you're like us and you've got like a bit of everything? That's cool.
That's why I can do anything.
Yeah. Come on. That's why I love Indian culture, Asian culture. What else are we? European?
African.
Irish.
Scandinavian, apparently.
Scandinavian.
Italian. I still can't get over that shit, man.
Crazy.
All right. So cultural appropriation. I think that was a really good discussion. I think
Always is, mate.
I think we've laid it out. Hopefully I'm saying this genuinely. Hopefully I wasn't insensitive in anything that I said, but that's truly what I believe.
It is never our intention to be insensitive. And, you know, we encourage discussion. Like, if you want to comment, please.
Comment,
we invite you to do that, because we are not about fight. We're lovers. We're not fighters. And
that's right.
we're lovers. We're not fighters. And we actually welcome conversation. Healthy conversation. And I think that's one of the key reasons Jason and I work so well together, is because we have many differing opinions, but it's the way that we conduct ourselves when we're expressing those opinions to each other. I think when opinions are expressed respectfully, it makes for great discussion. So if they're
100%.
Yeah. Love it.
Okay. Well, episode 10.
Congratulations.
Cultural appropriation. What did we talk about again? That's bad.
Appropriation versus appreciation. I like it. It's good.
Thank you for making it to episode 10. I know you've had some troubles over the last couple of months, so it's great that you've been able to make the time. So I appreciate that, Sally.
Oh, well, I value it, mate. I value our creative collaboration deeply.
2 people makes more than one.
Good boy.
On that inspiring note, until next time, goodbye.
Bon nuit.
Stop appropriating French. What is the go there? Can you speak another language?
We're Frenchmen.
Yeah, let's not go down that rabbit hole.
And yes, you can speak another language. That is totally, totally cool. Yes.
So a white person can speak African.
Sure.
African's not even a language. That's probably pretty a ridiculous statement. And there's many languages in Africa, I assume. Right. I don't know any of them. But I do come from the Maasai tribe. That is a fact, by the way. I come from
the Hallam tribe.
Yes. Represent. Goodbye.
Goodbye.